Most of you guys know the kids show on Cartoon Network, Adventure Time. Well, today I'll be going over a theory. Before I get started, I know there are many theories. The most popular one about being after a nuclear war, but it can't possibly be after a nuclear war, because I know radiation does some crazy stuff, but it can't be like unicorns and all this magic and weird stuff. There has to be a different explanation, and right now I'm going into my theory about it, and yeah, so let's get started. Finn wasn't like the normal boys. All he did was basically come home from school, play video games, and play with his dog and read fairy tales. That's pretty much all he did. He had average grades in school. He didn't really have any friends. His dog Jake, he considered his dog Jake his best friend. At this time, he was around 10 years old, and the first video games were coming out, you could say 1970s to 1980s. And yeah, he was really attached to his video games, and his mom and dad weren't, like, he loved his mom and dad, but they weren't they didn't talk to him much and stuff, so he still loved them though, because they did stuff for him, like they helped him out, but not as much as he loved his dog Jake. Finn, his imagination is really, really big. He often imagines stuff, and like he pretends he's in this imaginary world, and he thinks of unicorns, magic, and all this crazy things that isn't possible, like in his ordinary world, which is kind of boring to him. And that's why he loves video games and fairy tales and things like that, because they take him outside his ordinary, boring life. There was a nuclear war, and it started, and Finn was experiencing it. For the first parts of the war, there were no missiles or warheads, but he could witness the war. It was going on. He saw tanks and stuff and soldiers and people dying, but it was really sad. But eventually they started firing off missiles, so him and his family they moved them into a bunker vault system type thing. Like, if you ever played Fallout, you know how there's a vault system. That they moved him and his family and his dog Jake into that system. So basically, a missile destroyed like a lot of the vault. It was this huge explosion, and his family, he witnessed his family die from the explosion, and he witnessed other people dying from radiation. But he happened to crawl, like he crawled into some opening because he was really scared, and he was being traumatized by all this, what was going on. And his dog Jake died in the midst of it. So another explosion type thing, not a big one, but it pretty much knocked him out, and he couldn't move, he couldn't do anything. It was just him imagining things. So he basically created this imaginary world. It was the world of Ooo, or whatever he called it. It's pretty much the Earth. This is what he imagined the Earth to be like. He imagined it pretty much as an ordinary Earth, but this big chunk here. Obviously, even like one of the biggest explosions couldn't really do that. It's just him over-exaggerating it in his imagination. So Finn here, everything you see on the show is going on inside his mind. And the longer he's in this coma type thing, the longer what really happens fades away, and all he remembers is his day-to-day adventures. So eventually Finn starts imagining people like his dog Jake, and he imagines him with infinitive power and he can do anything and stuff like that, just because he was so good friends with his dog, and then he witnessed him die, so he gave him all this power. And then Finn also he also imagines all this magic and unicorns, and he imagined the world of his imagination, and he's going through it and doing stuff with his best friend, his dog Jake. This couldn't possibly be after the nuclear war, because even with radiation, all that stuff couldn't have happened. And as the real world fades away from him, he's just going deeper and deeper into his coma type thing. And part of him wants to escape it, but the rest of him wants to stay in his happy world where everyone acts like it's all nice and stuff. But he still has memories in that world. Like, you can see warheads and tanks broken down and stuff. He still has memories from the real world in his little world that he wants to eventually push out, so it's just the normal happy world that he's in his mind. So that's the theory of Adventure Time. I made it up myself, and I hope you enjoyed. After all, just a theory. This probably isn't true since it is a bit over the top. And I'll see you in my next video.